So today we are going to discuss about a new topic, that is the last type of connective tissue called fluid connective tissue. So fluid connective tissue itself is indicating that this connective tissue is in the form of liquid or fluid. So connective tissue, you all know that the one which connects the other tissues of the body, or which binds together the other tissues and which communicate directly with the other tissues. So this fluid connective tissue helps in communicating with the other tissues by supplying nutrients and other substances, and in turn collecting waste materials from each and every cell. So this fluid connective tissue is mainly transported by a special complex system in our body. So I hope you understood what is that fluid connective tissue present in the body. That fluid connective tissue which is flowing to each and every cell, which is communicating and connecting with each and every cell, is nothing but our blood. Okay, blood is also a tissue which is having different components, and this blood is like a stream which is flowing in narrow blood vessels. We have two types of blood vessels in our circulatory system. The one which is transporting, the type of blood vessels which transport pure or oxygenated blood to each and every cell, are called arteries. And the second type of blood vessels which receive deoxygenated blood from each and every cell and send to the heart are called veins. So here you can see two different blood vessels. When we cut the blood vessel, we can see a fluid which is flowing inside the blood vessel. So that fluid is nothing but the blood. And you can observe the difference between these two blood vessels. The one which is having thick wall and the other one is having very thin wall. And because of the presence of the thickness of the wall, more thickness of the wall, the lumen of blood vessel is very less. And the second type, if you observe, this is the one which is having thin wall. That's why the lumen of blood vessel is more. So in these two blood vessels, the one which is having very less lumen and thick wall are called arteries. You can see in this image, which are represented by red color, are the arteries which carry oxygenated blood to all parts of the body. And the blood vessels which have wide lumen and thin walls, they receive deoxygenated blood from all parts of the body and which return to the heart for purification. So these blood vessels are called veins, which are represented with blue color in this image. Okay, so this, the red stream that flows in closed tubes in our body is called blood. You please open your textbooks, page number 31. So blood is also a type of connective tissue. So what is this blood is representing? Blood explains many things about us. Many things means whether we are healthy, or whether we are suffering from any diseases, or we are suffering from anemia, or looking healthy, everything. So the blood explains the composition of blood, and components of blood explains many things about us, even though our attitude also depends on the group of blood which we have. So blood is a source to identify our wellness or illness. You please underline this point. Blood is a source to identify our wellness or illness. Okay, next. So what is the functioning of this heart? Why this heart is connected to almost all blood vessels in our body? Why this is called the principal organ of circulatory system? principal or chief or important organ of our circulatory system is the heart. So our heart pumps nearly about 36,000 liters of blood to a distance of nearly 20,000 kilometers in a time period of 24 hours. So where we have 20,000 kilometers in our body, total length of the blood vessels, which are spreading in our body constitute nearly about 20,000 kilometers, which can, if we weigh the distance of these blood vessels, it is nearly about 20,000 kilometers. So our heart is pumping nearly about how much liters of blood? 36,000 liters of blood to a distance of nearly 20,000 kilometers in a time period of 24 hours. Okay? Green. The blood is red in color because of the presence of more number of cells which carry a red color pigment. Those cells are called red blood cells. And that red coloration of these cells is because of the presence of a pigment called hemoglobin. Underline the red color pigment present in red blood cells is called hemoglobin. HAEMOGLOBIN, hemoglobin. So do all animals have red color blood? Yes? No, not all animals are having red color blood. So for example, cockroaches. If you see cockroaches, the blood is white in color, whereas in snails,
No, teacher.
so snails are having blue color blood. Cockroaches are having white color blood. Snails are having blue colored blood because of the presence of two different elements present in the blood. Next, coming to, so if we collect blood in a test tube and let it settle for few minutes, after few minutes we will observe certain parts which are sedimented in the, or which are forming different layers in that test tube. So here you can observe blood is having different components, like the portion which is occupied by the red color area is nothing but, this is represented by the cells which are red in color called erythrocytes. And a small layer of buffy coat is seen here, and that buffy coat is called leukocytes and platelets. The third one, which is yellowish colored portion, which is having maximum, which is occupying the maximum portion in our blood components, that is called plasma. So the mainly all these components of the blood, that is erythrocytes, leukocytes and platelets, all are floating in a fluid portion of the blood. That fluid portion is called plasma. So how much of blood is present in human beings? In normal healthy human being, normal adult human being have about 5 liters of blood. Please note down. A normal adult human being have about 5 liters of blood. Okay, so why this blood is fluid in nature? Because the chief component of blood is water, which is stored in plasma. So in the entire blood, plasma is occupying 55%. So why the blood is fluid in nature because blood is having a chief component called water, which is stored in the plasma. Shall I move on? Yes. So let's see what are the different components present in the blood. So this is entire classification of blood and its components. The whole blood is divided into two portions, major parts. One is plasma and second one is the formed elements. So as I told you, the fluid nature or liquid nature of the blood is because of the presence of plasma, which is constituting the water, which is the chief component of the blood. So blood is divided into how many components? Two components. One is plasma, second one is the formed elements. So let's see about plasma. So besides water, plasma also has several nutrients such as glucose, amino acids, proteins, vitamins, etc., and which are required for the body, and also certain excretory waste, excretory products like lactic acid, urea, nitrogenous waste materials also present in the plasma. Here you can see the plasma is constituting amino acids, nutrients, proteins. So what are the proteins present in the plasma? Albumins, globulins and fibrinogens. And the other components are nitrogenous waste, electrolytes, that is salts, and some gases are also dissolved in the plasma. Okay. The plasma also contains factors responsible for blood clotting. You see in your textbook page number 31, left side, last but one paragraph. Plasma also contains factors responsible for blood clotting. Heparin helps to prevent blood clotting in blood vessels. So heparin helps to prevent blood clotting in blood vessels. If heparin is absent, blood coagulates within the blood vessel, and that leads to rupturing of capillaries and blood vessels and finally results in death of the organism. Next, coming to formed elements or cells present in the blood. So these are also called corpuscles. So formed elements are also called corpuscles. So there are three different types of corpuscles are present. They are erythrocytes, leukocytes and platelets. Erythrocytes are also called red blood cells. Erythros means red. Cytos, cell. The cells which are red in color are called erythrocytes or red blood cells, or in simple we can say RBC. Second type of cells are WBC or white blood cells or leukocytes. Leukos means colorless. Leukos means colorless. Cytes means cells. The cells which are colorless are called leukocytes or WBC or white blood cells. And third type of formed elements present in the blood are called platelets. Okay. So what are the three types of cells present in the blood? RBC. RBC also called erythrocytes. Second type WBC, also called leukocytes or white blood cells, and platelets. So you can see here different formed elements that are present in the blood. So these are the red color cells. All red color cells are nothing but the erythrocytes or red blood cells. Okay. So these lymphocytes, monocyte, basophil, eosinophil, neutrophils, all these are the WBCs. You can see the large cells over here. And this is also one type of WBC, macrophage. So pink color cells or larger cells, and the very large cells which is having irregular projections on the surface, all these comes under WBC. And here and there you can find small cells which are not having a particular shape, and also they do not have any nucleus. They are called platelets. These are the three types of formed elements present in the blood. So first let's talk about RBC or red blood cells, also called erythrocytes. So these red blood cells are also known as erythrocytes, which are red in color. Already I told you this red coloration is because of the presence of a respiratory pigment or respiratory protein called hemoglobin. Okay. Again, so red blood cells are also known as erythrocytes, which are red in color. This red coloration is due to the presence of a protein or respiratory pigment called hemoglobin. This hemoglobin helps in the transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide. 1 ml of human blood has about 5 million red blood cells. Please note down this point. 1 milliliter of human blood has about 5 million red blood cells. 1 milliliter of human blood has 5 million of red blood cells, and the lifespan of RBCs. So here you can say this is a blood vessel in which RBCs are freely floating in the plasma. The lifespan of each RBC is 120 days. Okay, the lifespan of RBCs is only 120 days. After 120 days, they will die. RBCs will die, and those dead RBCs are carried to the graveyard inside our body. We have a graveyard for RBCs, especially for RBCs. So that graveyard is called spleen. So today, for example, some million of RBCs have died because today is the 120th day of some RBCs which will be carried, the dead RBCs will be carried to the graveyard inside our body called spleen, where the processing or post-mortem of RBCs will take place inside the liver before taking to the graveyard. So I'll just have a gist regarding red blood cells. Red blood cells are also called RBCs or erythrocytes. They are red in color because of the presence of a protein called hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is also known as respiratory pigment as it helps in transportation of oxygen and carbon dioxide. 1 milliliter of human blood has nearly about 5 million RBCs, and the lifespan of RBC is about 120 days. In fetus, the RBCs are formed in the liver and spleen, and after birth, the RBCs are produced from the bone marrow of long bones. And note down a point, the process of production of RBCs the process of production of RBCs is called erythropoiesis. The process of production of RBCs is called erythropoiesis. Okay. The second type of cells present in the blood are called. Now, one more point you now note down here. Here, if you observe the RBCs, there is no nucleus at the center. So, because of the absence of the nucleus, they have biconcave surface. Please note down. Mammals Mammals RBCs are anucleated. Anucleated. ENUCLEATED. Anucleated. Within a bracket, without nucleus. Without nucleus. Next point. Because of the absence of nucleus,
Varshita,
Varshita,
you please
mute
mute
yourself.
yourself.
So because of the absence of nucleus, RBCs
Resound వస్తుంది టీచర్.
are having biconcave surface. Biconcave surface. Is this clear regarding RBCs? Next type of cells or formed elements present in the blood are white blood cells. White blood cells are also called leukocytes, or in short we can call them as WBC. The second type of cells are WBCs. So what is the reason why they are called WBC? Because of the absence of pigment. They are colorless. There is no hemoglobin in these cells. There is no red color pigment in WBC. Hence they are called white blood cells. They are colorless. And these cells are less in number when compared to the RBCs. Already I told you that 1 milliliter of human blood has about 5 million red blood cells, whereas WBC, what would be the number of WBC in 1 milliliter of human blood? 1 milliliter of human blood may consist of nearly about 11,000 to 14,000 WBCs only. RBCs are 5 million in 1 milliliter of human blood, whereas WBC count is 11,000 to 40,000 only. It should not exceed. If the WBC count increases in the blood, that is nothing but a disease called blood cancer. Okay, if WBC count abnormally increases, that results in blood cancer. So the normal range of WBCs in human blood in 1 milliliter of blood must be 11,000 to 14,000, whereas RBCs are 5 million. 5 million in 1 milliliters of blood. So these WBCs are two types, granulocytes and agranulocytes. Granulocytes, you can see here, there are certain granules or dot-like structures are present in the WBCs. Because of the presence of these small dot-like structures or granules, they are called granulocytes. And the other types of WBCs, they do not have that much granules in the cytoplasm of the WBCs. Hence, they are called agranulocytes. Granulocytes are again classified into three types: neutrophils, basophils, and eosinophils. Neutrophils, basophils, and eosinophils. What is the function of these three types of cells? You can see here, neutrophils are having trilobed nucleus. Trilobed nucleus means nucleus is having three lobes, 1, 2, and 3. Basophils are having a large bilobed nucleus. Even eosinophils are also having bilobed nucleus, but granules are more in basophils when compared to neutrophils and eosinophils. All the three types of cells, they attack and destroy the microorganisms that enter into the blood. Okay? And these neutrophils are the first line of defense in our body against bacteria. They destroy bacteria that enter into our body. Hence, they are called microscopic policemen. Neutrophils are also called microscopic policemen, which act as the first line of defense against bacteria. And have you ever heard about pus? చీము అని ఎప్పుడైనా విన్నారా? So whenever you get any wound to your leg or hand, after few days a yellowish white color fluid with foul smell which will oozes out of the wound. So that white color fluid which is coming out of the wound is nothing but the pus, which is having the dead bacteria and the dead WBCs, which fought against the microorganisms that enter into our body to protect the inner tissues and to protect our body from the effect of such microorganisms. These three, neutrophils, basophils and eosinophils, are fighting against the germs, and they are coming out, they are eliminating such components in the form of a white color fluid with foul smell called pus. Okay? And coming to granulocytes, agranulocytes. Agranulocytes are of two types, monocytes and lymphocytes. Monocytes, you can see here, they are looking like amoeba and attack foreign organisms, and which engulf the microorganisms or bacteria that enter into the body. The foreign materials are destroyed inside these cells and they are called scavengers. Monocytes are called scavengers. Underline this point. Monocytes are called scavengers. And even lymphocytes also help in engulfing of the foreign organisms that enter into our body. So WBCs are broadly classified into granulocytes and agranulocytes. Okay, the remaining part we'll discuss in tomorrow's class. Okay? See you then. Until then, bye-bye. Take care.